You think your high-tech gadgets are fast? This guy is about to be humiliated by a lizard that can out-accelerate a fighter jet without even breaking a sweat. Welcome back to the lab, where we try to out-engineer nature and fail miserably. Today, we're looking at the chameleon's tongue, a biological catapult that defies the limits of soft tissue physics. While we struggle to build motors that don't overheat, these colorful reptiles have mastered a snapback mechanism that turns their own muscles into a supercharged weapon. It's not just a grabber, it's a high-G elastic nightmare that effectively cheats the laws of motion. Let's dive in. All right, let's talk about fast. You might think a fly is quick, but it's basically standing still compared to a chameleon. Physics doesn't care about your rubber band ambitions. To really get what's going on, we have to look at the chameleon's tongue. When this lizard decides it's snack time, it isn't just reaching out. It is firing a biological projectile at 2,000 meters per second squared. That acceleration is 200 Gs. To put that in perspective, a fighter jet pilot hits maybe 9 Gs before they pass out and see stars. At 200 Gs, you wouldn't just black out, you'd be turned into a human pancake before your brain even realized you were moving. The chameleon isn't just using muscles, it's storing elastic energy like a biological slingshot. It's a total cheat code for physics, and honestly, it's terrifying. Now, you have probably heard that a chameleon's tongue acts like a piece of Velcro, a big sticky strip of biological tape snatching up bugs. But that's a total myth. If it were just glue, the chameleon would spend half its life trying to peel its tongue off a leaf instead of eating. See, if a chameleon relied on simple glue, it would be a disaster. Real physics is much more aggressive. The secret isn't just stickiness. It is a mechanical catapult.
Ready?
Biological high-speed catapults don't use muscle power at the moment of impact. Instead, they store energy, like a spring or a rubber band being pulled to its absolute limit. And then, snap. It is a biological release of stored elastic tension that turns a lazy lizard into a high-G projectile machine. So, if it's not glue, how does it actually work? Meet the entoglossal process. Think of the chameleon's tongue not as a muscle, but as a biological battery that charges up. The chameleon pulls its tongue muscles back, loading energy into collagen sheaths. Basically, nature's own high-tension springs.
This one is made of steel.
See, once that spring is locked and loaded,
the lizard just releases
the trigger. The result? A power output of 14,000 watts per kilogram. That is 5 times the theoretical limit of what a vertebrate muscle should be able to do. It's basically physics-breaking speed. While the chameleon is calculating the perfect shot, Stickman here is busy trying to outspring nature. It doesn't matter how hard you crank it. You can't outrun biology when it turns into a projectile. All right, so the tongue launch is the star, but chameleons are basically biological Swiss Army knives packed with weirdness. First off, those eyes. They move independently, like two high-tech gun turrets scanning for danger. While Stickman is rebooting, notice how the chameleon can look at a delicious fly with one eye while simultaneously checking for a predator behind its back with the other. Total field of vision, 360 degrees. It's like having eyes in the back of your head, literally. Next, meet the prehensile tail. It's not just for hanging out, it's a stabilizer. In the wild, that tail is a fifth limb, acting as an anchor when the chameleon is balancing on thin, swaying branches. Finally, let's address the elephant in the room, or rather the tongue in the mouth. The chameleon's tongue is often longer than its entire body. Efficiency has never looked this terrifying. Now, let's get nerdy. If you want to understand how a lizard manages to go from 0 to 60 in a fraction of a second, you have to talk about physics. Specifically, elastic potential energy. U equals 1/2 k delta x squared. In our world, K represents the stiffness of a spring. For a chameleon, that K is built into specialized collagen sheaths that wrap around their hyoid bone. Unlike your standard muscle fibers, which are notoriously slow and lazy, these collagen layers act like a rubber band being stretched to the absolute limit. The chameleon isn't relying on raw strength. It's cheating by storing energy in these tissues like a mechanical crossbow. It's not just muscle power, it's biological engineering at its most chaotic.
Let's see what
So
is next
how does
on
that tongue actually stick to a bug without it just sliding off like a greasy noodle? The answer is pure goopy magic. Non-Newtonian saliva.
I wonder if there is
Chameleon
anything to
spit
eat
is about
around here.
400 times more viscous
I
than
hope that it
human
tastes like-
blood. It's a sheer
Under pressure,
thickening fluid.
it becomes
Think of it like
solid.
this. When it's flying through the air, it's loose and runny. But the moment it slams into an insect, that impact force turns it into a superglue instantly. It's all about the shear stress. You apply force, it gets hard. You relax, it gets liquid. To demonstrate this, imagine Stickman as the bug. He's just minding his own business, and then, bam! That impact pressure is the trigger. It turns that saliva into a solid anchor in milliseconds. The pretty doesn't even have time to realize it's been caught before it's already being reeled into the lizard's mouth. Now, let's talk about scale. If you scaled up a chameleon's tongue mechanics to human proportions, things stop being cute and start becoming a citywide safety hazard. Based on the acceleration and force ratios we've looked at, if your tongue functioned like a chameleon's, you could launch your own face muscle-based projectile from the sidewalk and snatch a snack right off a skyscraper window. Of course, physics doesn't care about your hunger, and biological scaling is a cruel mistress. The massive G-force of that launch would turn us into a literal human missile. While the chameleon stays perfectly still, keeping its center of mass locked, we'd just be a flying, screaming disaster zone of soft tissue and bad ideas. So, how does a lizard turn its mouth into a biological sniper rifle? It all comes down to a masterclass in evolutionary engineering. We have looked at the 3 pillars: the intense storage of elastic potential energy, the snap of those collagen springs, and the weird sticky magic of non-Newtonian physics. It is not just about being fast, it is about storing power in a slow-motion windup and releasing it in a single devastating pulse. Nature did not just evolve a weapon, it hacked the laws of physics to bypass the speed limits of muscle fiber. When you look at the sheer mechanical precision behind that tongue, it is clear that evolution is the ultimate engineer, far outclassing anything we have bolted together in a lab.
This schematic is the key.
Honestly, maybe we should just leave the ballistics to the professionals. So, while our friend Stickman is currently folded into an origami crane after trying to mimic a chameleon, the truth is, biology didn't need a degree in mechanical engineering to master the art of the launch. It just needed a bit of elastic protein and a very hungry stomach. Nature proves that sometimes the most sophisticated physics isn't in a lab, but sitting on a branch, waiting for a fly. Hit that subscribe button to keep up with our next breakdown.